Hello everyone, and welcome back to Abundantly Minimal. Here on this channel, we've talked a lot about how to declutter and what to declutter, but not necessarily as much about why to declutter. And I know recently I've been doing some work on some different goals of mine, not decluttering at the moment, but other goals to try to improve my life. And I have found that when I really root myself in the why I'm doing something and really try to become that person who is making the right choices or the most optimal choices, I see the most success. And so in today's video, I want to walk through 5 different whys or approaches that we can really step into when we are decluttering to have better results and to make it easier to feel more impassioned and excited to be doing these decluttering projects, even if our initial thoughts are not necessarily that excited or motivated to be doing them. So without further ado, let's jump right in. The first why we might be decluttering is decluttering for relief. With this idea, sometimes the clutter we have in our space can be sort of like a heavy weight. We might be held back by the clutter. We can't just freely, go about our days. We are burdened and almost carrying these heavy weights or this clutter around with us everywhere we go. Now, maybe that's a bit of an extreme analogy, but the weight of clutter can really affect our lives in a lot of negative ways, or ways that we might not even realize, because it makes us more tired, we're more overwhelmed, we have a lot of decision fatigue, or we can't find what we need. We're the late person because we can't get to a place on time because we're dealing with a lot of extra stuff here and extra baggage. And I think it truly can prevent us from reaching our full potential in life if we're constantly, carrying this clutter around with us from place to place or dealing with it on a regular basis. What can you do to help yourself feel lighter and able to focus more on the present rather than being bogged down in the past with these past items? Maybe instead of decluttering for relief, you want to declutter for sense of self, to figure out who you actually are. In our society, sometimes having a lot of stuff is almost seen as a personality, constantly going out and buying new things, buying things for all these different occasions, and we can get so caught up in the pursuit of new stuff and so distracted by bringing new things in that we forget who we actually are, or we stop nurturing elements of us that make us unique and hobbies and passions that we have that are not just related to stuff and buying more. Sometimes we have to let go to be able to start remembering who we are in the first place, or maybe if we haven't known before, clear away the excess so we can focus on what actually matters and start building ourselves up from there. It's time to figure out who you are without your stuff. Even if you've always had all of this stuff with you, that doesn't need to be how you step into your future. What opportunities will open themselves up after you leave that part of yourself behind and focus on the real you? And stop letting your past stuff dictate how you need to act and what you need to do going forward. Maybe it's time to declutter for a new beginning. Maybe you just experienced a really big life change, or maybe it's been a really long time since you've had a life change and you're feeling stuck, or there are some negative memories or some other challenges that are haunting you and the stuff is preventing you from moving forward and you need a fresh start. Decluttering can be such a helpful tool to help us reset our lives, reset our spaces, reset our habits, reset the way we live life, and letting go of those past triggers and past items that do keep us trapped in the past or trapped in a previous phase of life. Decluttering those is going to help. Ideally, we are setting up our environment, our home, to be reflective of the state that we're in as well as the direction where we're going, and choosing items that are more intentional, highlighting your favorite pieces while letting go of the rest can be what helps us transition that environment and thus improve other aspects of our life as well, just besides the physical environment. Maybe you feel the need to declutter for independence, to set yourself apart from the crowd or from society. There are quite a few societal expectations for how we should and should not live our lives, but the truth is these are often related to capital interests and desires to get us to spend more money or maybe live our lives for someone else rather than ourselves. And maybe it's time for you to break away from the pack a bit and go off on your own path. See what opportunities might lie ahead and how you wish to truly structure your life. I know in the reflections that my husband and I have done together, they have been immensely helpful in helping us separate ourselves from, what is normal but doesn't actually add value. In fact, it can reduce quality of life, and instead prioritizing the things that light you up and the opportunities that are going to make you much happier and bring joy to your life and meaning. But if we just follow the path everyone else is on, we're more likely to miss those unique opportunities that would really mean a lot to us. The last decluttering why I'll talk about today is decluttering for legacy. Now this one people might find a bit surprising, but oftentimes, if you are holding on to a large quantity of items from loved ones that you haven't actually really gone through yet, or even thinking about your own items, you haven't really gone through them yet or decluttered yet, well, that's actually not really conducive to preserve the legacy of yourself in the future or these other loved ones. When we keep vast quantities of items, we cannot easily identify what is most important. And having an increased volume of something means that it's more likely to be damaged or lost over the years and over time. We see this is very true with historical artifacts even. The longer you go back into history, there are fewer and fewer items that were used there that have survived. And that's the same with us. If we're not actively selecting, prioritizing, and preserving the most important artifacts or items from our loved ones, or again, even our own artifacts from childhood, we're not going to be able to preserve those memories. They are more likely to get damaged over time. And it would be such a tragedy if all of these different beautiful pieces were lost or destroyed, not able to be accessed again because you didn't take the time to sort through them. It's so important to, instead of keeping everything, focus on those most important items and protect them at all costs to really help preserve that legacy. Now, I know this video is quite a bit different from some of my other topics, but I'm hopeful it was helpful in getting a sense of why it is helpful to declutter and figuring out which maybe reason resonates with you for a different level of motivation as you're decluttering. It was tough for me not to give actionable strategies, but I've got lots of other videos doing that. You can check out some of these over here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.